Welcome to Court Helicopter, trending news, explainer, blockbuster, what we call it. Njugush and his person, Wakavinye, sensational media personalities. Wakavinye, fantastic content creator. Now they are embroiled in serious issues. It's not only him. We have a sensational Khaby Lami. You know Khaby, here he enters Khaby Lami, the TikTok. They men have one thing in common. People ask me, which is my favorite team in football? I don't tell them. Because you remember the Moroccan Hakimi player, the sensational player from Morocco? All these three men have it in common. What is that in common? Their wives or girlfriends believed they were investing into the properties together. Abilami had registered all these properties to his father. When the divorce went there, the father said, "These are my properties, keep off, don't come here, boss, I will indict them aside." The court could not take the property from the father and give to the wife. Hakimi, the footballer, the sensational footballer, when the divorce proceedings were there, the wife claimed to have 50% of the billions of money, only to find Hakimi had registered all the properties in his mother's name. She lost everything. Now, here in Kenya, Wakavinye, kimeumana. Njugush has registered all the properties in his mother's name. What is the law about this scenario? Before we reach at the law, ask this. The circles in this country. Has your wife put you as the next of kin in her circle savings? Has your wife put you as the next of kin in her employment form where she's working? Because when she dies, she'll be paid gratuity and pension. Has your wife put you in the bank account where she has opened? Who is the next of kin? The answer is as good as me. Women, 80% are putting their mothers as next of kin. If not their mothers, their children. If not their children, their sisters. This is a trend, global. The two bright men, the three bright men, Hakimi, Abilami, and the Njugush learned these stories. And to them, they said, if my wife does not register any property as a next of kin, I will put them in the names of my mothers. But what is the law? This is the law. Number one, any circle, any cooperative movement, the person who is named there, that is final. You cannot challenge it. The next of kin in a circle, that is where the money will be sent to. So, even you, those ones who are registering, I know you put Omari to be the next of kin. Omari divorces you, you forget to change. If you don't change, that is the end of it. So, you cannot take to court any nominee appointed under a circle. 2, pension and gratuity. You cannot challenge that in court if your name is not there. To the employer, the employers will give the property to the person named there. You can't challenge. Let us now come to this issue where people manufacture property during a marriage. One registers that property in his name alone. The law says after you file for divorce, you can go to the High Court for division of matrimonial property. And whether the name is registered in one name, the court will find out that that property will be shared according to each person's equal contribution, both materially and morally or indirectly. 2, the properties have been registered to parents. There is the law. The law is twice that this is a gift to their parents. And once a gift has been given to somebody, he does not need to pay consideration. So the father of Khaby Lami took everything because that was a gift from his son. A gift, you don't need to explain the source of the gift for you to give somebody. If you go home and give your dad a coat or a goat or a car registered in his name, so long as the vehicle is not out of money laundering, so long as the court, the vehicle, or the property is not being followed by asset recovery, that property is absolutely your father. That property is absolutely your mother. So Wakavinye, that is a rude shock you are getting today under that law. But 2, Wakavinye has a big chance to recover the properties acquired into this matter. All that Wakavinye needs to do is to file a divorce proceeding and go to the High Court and prove her contribution into the acquisition of this property. They will bring in the father, the mother of Njugush into the case. The question before the court will be, how did she acquire this property? She'll be arguing she was given a gift. Can Njugush give a gift of a property that is not his? Can you take your wife's property and give somebody as a gift? The law cannot accept that. A gift must be what you own wholesomely. So you cannot give somebody a gift that is not yours. So if Wakavinye produces evidence in court that the gift, the registration of these documents, the properties, was an attempt to dispossess her, that's another issue. 2, Wakavinye will rush to the children's court and argue that the properties that they got together were for the benefit of the children. The mother is not the biological mother of these children. So the court will freeze those properties and attach them for school fees until the children have finished a bachelor's degree. Under the Children's Act, she can go for a lump sum payment from Njugush. Calculate all the amount, it will be around 2 billion to educate those children and finish and give them a job. The property Njugush has given to his mother, if indeed he has given that allegation, is not worth the 2 billion. He stands to lose. Another issue is whether these properties were in companies. If the properties have been transferred to companies of his mother or his father, the question under the company law, there is the law of beneficial ownership. Who is the owner of this property? What can the father or mother or a friend or anybody show as having worked for those property. So this is a serious battle. It is open because we have not gotten enough facts. It is an allegation that Njugush and his Wakavinye have differed. It is sensational. We have given you the law. So how does it affect you? The day the properties are being bought, ensure the sale agreement is registered your two names, the wife and the husband. Show your contribution in the sale agreement. Your equity is this amount. Out of 10 million, you have given in 8 million. How do you transfer this money? Transfer money with M-Pesa or from your account to Njugush's account. So that if Njugush does not want to pay you this money, you can go to the civil court. You'll go to the civil court for recovery of money you loaned, you gave Njugush or you gave Omari. But if you get money and you give your husband, your fiancé, at the heat of passion, at the heat of love, you get the money and give that person in cash, you will lose badly. So Wakavinye, if indeed it's true, she has been dispossessed, she needs to get all the receipts and all the transactions and ensure that she produces it in court, and she'll recover from the civil court her money that she gave. Remember, people have even recovered money given in kind. Men have recovered money given educating women. We've done it here, and they have recovered their money. So, if, for example, I've heard the clip, the lady is saying, if it is her who admired Njugush with a beard, and she has invested and generated Njugush to have an appetite to have a beard, and he has a beard, that is contribution. The law is very elastic. The law provides for ownership of property on singular angle or joint ownership. So the question that we have, were these properties of Njugush and Wakavinye bought in the name only of Njugush? Or were they bought jointly? If they were bought jointly and Njugush went behind the curtains and changed ownership of the structure, either by company, by a company, there is a resolution by the company to do what they want to do. If there was any fraudulent transfer of this property to Njugush alone, Njugush is likely to take plea before the DCI will get him. 2, if the properties were jointly owned and both of them were legally married, no property can be sold without a spousal consent. Wakavinye must give a spousal consent for any property to be transferred. Whether it is NTSA, a spousal consent of a jointly owned vehicle, that vehicle is called a matrimonial property. So, if there's a woman who was presented somewhere to appear to be Wakavinye, that person will be arrested and be charged for fraud. So the questions of joint ownership is there. It can also be these properties were bought, they were paid for, but they had not finished payment for the matatus. The logbook was still in the name of the seller because there was a balance. Then Njugush can go there, clear the 20,000 balance remaining and say, now register this in my mother or in my father's property. That is why the documents of registration are very, 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 very clear. But if Wakavinye forwarded money to the owners of the vehicle, she will produce bank statements, M-Pesa statements showing that she contributed in this matter. Joint ownership is a very serious issue, both in marital space, because it brings what is called matrimonial property. In commercial transactions, it brings joint companies or joint ownership, and each person is defined in terms of the shares they have contributed into that payment of the purchase of the matatus. Another issue, Wakavinye, if it's true she has been dispossessed, she will register caution as a person with beneficial interests. If she registers a caution at NTSA, the properties will not be transferred. If she goes to court, it is going to be a bloody love affair, content creation. And that is why we from Court Helicopter have appealed to Obina and the content creators in this country. Let us keep the lawyers from this matter. The lawyers will eat the fees, and all the properties Njuguna and his wife and his lady Wakavinye have generated, the lawyers from both sides will take the money. But what you're saying, I totally agree with Obina. This is a matter that can be resolved. This is a matter that can be discussed. The church should come in and deal with this matter. The families should come in and deal with this matter. The artists, the content creators should come in and mediate this matter. As Court Helicopter, we strongly believe in Article 159 of the Constitution, alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. At the center of this field are children. Children are suffering. The type of publicity the children are getting, the type of coverage the children are getting. From Court Helicopter, Wakili Dan Sanomari, with his crew, we are calling upon Njugush and Wakavinye to resolve their matter quietly, so that this, for the sake of the children and for the sake of the business they are doing. Wakili Dan Sanomari, never tiring to give advice. Njugush, Wakavinye, you have heard. Resolve your matter amicably. You say you cannot forgive each other? You cannot forgive each other? Do you remember Raila Odinga forgave Moi? Moi detained him for 9 years. He forgave. Raila Odinga forgave Uhuru Kibaki. The elections of 2007, he believed Kibaki stole an election from him. Raila Odinga forgave him. Raila Odinga forgave Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta, according to Raila Odinga, he believed he won the election. They shook hands and had the serikali ya nusu mkate. Raila Odinga forgave Ruto, and they shook hands and formed broad-based government. What does the Bible say? You forgive 70 times 70. Keep watching and enjoy your weekend as we wish our good entertainers, our comedians, Njugush and Wakavinye, to sort their mess. Thank you.